Cooksy Mob, what's happening? Hey guys. So we've got a week off, but that doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. We got Loretta Lynns. I'm going to be doing some lives this week after the racing. I love watching Loretta Lynns and all the kids and finding out who's who. And listening to Kevin Kelly, who's the announcer a lot of the time on the, he is like, it's like listening to stand-up comedy. Kevin Kelly is so funny. He's what I want in an announcer. And then we're going to get into Steve Matthes. Steve Matthes has doubled down in his so-called, like, I don't know if you want to call it an apology, explanation, or whatever it was, but I'm going to dive into that. And yeah, just a few other things, guys. But first, I want to welcome Precision Transport to the show. Precision Transport is joining us in August. Go check out their website. If you need to ship something, on a flatbed, refrigerated truck, whatever, check out Precision Transport. They're going to do it at less cost. Check those guys out. And then we got Coach Rob, Complete Med Solutions. If you're not feeling well, you're dragging, or you just want to figure out what exactly your program needs, they'll send you a blood testing kit and then get you something specific to what your needs are. Strapped. Patriotism, guys. It's a good thing. Strapped embraces it. Get your goggles. Get your goggles. Represent. If you're not down with the Let's Go Brandon ones, just get the We the People. We're all left, right. You're still We the People. So support America, which Strapped also does. And then also, guys, Epic Garage Designs. Check out Epic Garage Designs. Go to the website, order some slat wall. I'm telling you, it will change your garage's look. You'll be more organized, and then just kind of build out from there. But they'll ship anywhere in the country. Just order it right off the website. So, all right, guys, I can't believe where Matthes went with this one, but let's get into it.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
So Steve Matthes is a motocross journalist, and he's done a really good job. He has a lot of platforms. He's probably the most viewed podcaster in this space, and he does a lot of work. I did say a while ago he was lazy. When I meant he was lazy, he's not lazy work-wise, but if you look at his body, you can tell he's a little bit lazy, and but he puts out a ton of content. It's good content. He does a great job. But he stepped in it big. Clearly, this guy leans left. He has a very socialist mentality. I've spent a lot of time with him. I understand where he's coming from. I do not agree with it at all. So, after what he said about Deegan and patriotism and cheering about the flag,
going to do. The mob mentality is speaking. But for Hayden to bring up the American thing twice now, he's obviously trying to divide people up.
That's bad. And in his explanation, he tried to say, well, I just don't want people flipping off the Lawrences, or nobody's going to, well, I can't say nobody. Very few people are going to flip off the Lawrences. They're from Australia. Nobody dislikes Australia, or most people don't like Australia. And if somebody did, that's their problem. That's their prerogative. They want to be a dick like that, they can. But I wouldn't recommend it. But just celebrating America is not that. And that's what he went after. And that is a very left, woke extremism. That's one of the things they tackle most on that far left. And I think even people on the left should be aware. That's not good for them either. That's not good for anyone. I can't believe how many Canadians have reached out and said, that's wrong, that you shouldn't say that. And, he's trying to play that I'm just a Canadian, I love America, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. It was a very weird description, and I recommend you go over to his Instagram, read it for yourself, take it how you will. I read it, I got what I thought was what his message was. It was kind of an apology or explanation, followed by, but I only did it because, and then he proceeded to lash out against MAGA and right-wingers. He couldn't help himself. It's strange to watch people. You never know what somebody's going to do with power until they get it. And some people, you get that guy that was picked on all their life and they get power and they just become a complete douche. I'm going to go ahead and say he's probably in that category. But it's crazy to see him on the other end of this. This guy has been unleashing Pulp fans on people for the longest time. The kind of hate he's getting on the internet, it sucks. I've been there. It is no fun. It is something that you want to avoid it and you want to say things don't bother you, but when you are flooded with hate. So I was part of the, when Ryan Dungey, my second press conference, yelled at me. It was a misunderstanding. He didn't understand what I was asking. He thought I was asking something that I wasn't, Meanwhile, he's going through his own stuff. He actually apologized to me later on.
Did it fire you guys up last week after the Roxon injury that pretty much everybody kind of crowned Dungey at that point? How did that make you feel?
I didn't know that I would use the word fired up.
But the amount of hate, and it was fueled by Matthes. Matthes has been aiming this type of stuff at other people, but when it comes to him, boy, he's having a hard time taking it. It is what it is, but the tables have turned, and I wouldn't recommend canceling anyone, not even Steve. Do not cancel him. I wouldn't call his sponsors. I wouldn't do any of that stuff. Live by the sword, die by the sword. It's hilarious that, and I genuinely, I had a long talk with Johnny Hopper about this. Johnny feels for anybody who gets this kind of internet hate, because him and I both know how it feels to have people. And Steve has unleashed the pulp people on me multiple times to come at me and say horrible things and mean things, and you can kind of steer them. And it's funny, in Steve's apology, he even mentions the mob, which I have to think he's probably referring to you guys. And you got to deal with it when it comes your way. If you're going to make fun of patriotism, you're going to get some crap. I mean, Ping jumped on board. I mean, I understand. He's so wrong. He's not right at all. And instead of actually addressing that, okay, maybe that's wrong, maybe it's okay to have national pride, whether it be Canadian, Australian, American. Nobody said their other countries suck. Yes, that's wrong. We're in 100% agreement in that. The problem is nobody said that. So you went after patriotism, or he went after patriotism when nobody said anything wrong. Deegan just said he was the top American. That's it.
I'm glad I could put the American up front for all the fans.
He has made his bed and he will lie in it. And it's not going to get any better. If I was his publicist, I would be like, stop, dude. You're a moron. You cannot keep going down this road. I actually did a career podcast with him on the RacerX network. Yeah, guys, check it out. And it was a really great interview where he walked through all his different experiences, sleeping in shops to get where he is. So don't act like he hasn't. He's worked his ass off to get where he is. But power is a strange thing. When you go from the guy pushing the broom in the garage, some people get to the top and remember what it was like, and instead of turning on those people and becoming the ultimate horrible dictator, they actually change it. And that's what that's what I try and embrace. Because when you get a platform, you do get a significant amount of power. You can get your message out there. So I try to be responsible with that in that sense. I don't think Steve does. Steve's that nerdy kid that got picked on, who as soon as the tables turn, he's picking on kids. That's what he does. And this explanation didn't make it any better. It was actually, I think he's doubled down and made it worse on himself. If you read it and answer me if you think his explanation was worse or better. I think it makes it worse, because he's like the kid that got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and instead of saying, oh yeah, I shouldn't have had my hand in the cookie jar, he says, well, you left the cookies out. That's your fault, not mine. What? That's literally what he's doing here. He's saying, I might have been wrong, but you were wrong. I'm like, no, nobody's wrong. Nobody said anything. It's patriotism in the United States in a series that his employer is deemed a World Series. I'm surprised they don't play national anthems after a different guy wins. They could. If they're going to call it a World Series, why not? The MXGP does. That's not hate. That is being proud. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But what he's toying with is there's a woke agenda from liberal extremists that says patriotism equals racism and all those other things, that it goes way wrong. He went there. He's toyed with this a few times, but this time he went there. And it's just, it doesn't belong in the sport. In my mind, it doesn't belong in the world. Aldon, but that's his personality. So to see him doing this, that's who he is. He's that guy. He's that jock that hazes people, that tries to keep them. Maybe it's his own insecurities. I don't know. But this one's not going to blow over, not with an explanation or apology like that. So I'm excited about this week. This week, Loretta Lynns it's one of the most fun events to watch. I literally watch this thing as much as I can all week. It's an off week, but it's actually better than an off week. We have racing all day long. I get to see all these kids. It's such a fun event. But remember, families, have fun out there. There's one winner, and it's all about the experience. And when I went there, it was about winning. I didn't do good. My old man was pissed, and it kind of soured it a touch. Don't get me wrong. I still appreciate it, and I loved it, and I look back on it fondly. But I would hope others don't make those same mistakes. And it's hard when you spend that kind of money, and MX Sports charges a boatload to go there. I mean, it is truly an event for the rich, which hurts the sport a little bit. Tim Cotter. Oh my God. I keep hearing stories about this guy. Remember, this is the guy that put Brendan Schofield in the room with Brian Deegan. He's a bully. Those of you guys at the ranch, you know who I'm talking about. You know Tim Cotter. This guy gets off on bullying kids. There's a story I really want to share, and the family asked me kind of to wait until after the event because they don't want any more. But when I share what he did, it's really appalling. And as someone who has children and has developing children around those teenage years, to have an adult dress them down and say some of the things that this guy says, listen, this family and that dad is stronger than me, because I don't know that like, you talk to my kid like that, I would rather you tell me those things. But if you tell my kid that, it's worse. So anyway, enjoy the ranch. If you see Tim Cotter dressing anyone down, let him know we don't appreciate that. That's not okay. It's not okay ever. So anyway, guys, subscribe and I'll catch you later.